PlayStation was created due to a feud between Sony and Nintendo. In the late 1980s, CDs were rising in terms of popularity as they could hold more data versus their cartridge counterpart. Cartridges could only hold 8 to 16 megabytes of data, where CDs could hold 650 megabytes of data. Nintendo approached Sony and asked them to create a CD-ROM add-on for the SNES. Nintendo decided to ask Sony because they had worked together in the past. During the development of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo needed a sound chip. Ken Kutaragi of Sony worked on this project and created the SPC 700 sound chip. Kutaragi's fascination with Nintendo came after his daughter played games on the Nintendo Entertainment System. The sound chip that Kutaragi put in the SNES would make the console outperform any console in terms of sound. Sony executives disapproved what Kutaragi did. It was only because its CEO at the time, Norio Oga, expressed his interest and let Kutaragi continue his foray in the game market. Kutaragi would then become the leader of the SNES CD add-on team. Sony and Nintendo would then sign a contract and form the biggest deal in the video game industry at that time. This contract would allow Sony to create their own console. Sony would then create the PlayStation, a console that could play SNES cartridge games and SNES CD games. However, it upset Nintendo that the contract gave Sony a large amount of control of all software licenses on SNES CD-based games. Nintendo, now infuriated with Sony, decided to sign a more favorable contract with Philips, the only other company working on the CD-ROM format Nintendo wished to use. The time came around for the 1991 Consumer Electronics Show, and Sony, unaware of the new contract with Philips, announced their PlayStation game console. Nintendo announced the next day that they canceled the contract with Sony and were instead going to partner with Philips. The executives of Sony were infuriated with Nintendo's actions and considered scrapping the project altogether. This also angered Norio Oga as he found Nintendo's actions to be unacceptable. But thanks to Kutaragi, he was able to convince Oga to let him continue with the project. Oga supported Kutaragi 100% on this project. Nintendo, however, would end up canceling the deal with Philips, so no CD-ROM add-on was ever made for the SNES. And so, on December 3rd, 1994, PlayStation was officially released in Japan. To become to North America almost 1 year later, on September 9th, 1995. It would retail for $299. PlayStation ended up being a worldwide success, selling 102 million units by the end of its 12-year lifespan. It would be known for being the longest-selling console ever for the time. Sony ceased all PlayStation-related activities on March 23rd, 2006.
And that's pretty much how it happened.